Okay, everybody, what we're going to do today is we're going to take a little bit of time to review what we've been talking about the last few weeks, and then we're going to go into some new material with populations. So, just as a review, ecology talks about how living things interact with each other and in their environment. So, and that's essentially what the definition of an ecosystem is. It's how living things and non-living things interact. So with that, we learned about abiotic and biotic factors. We learned about food webs and food chains. We learned about trophic levels in the trophic pyramid. And we learned about how different nutrients like nitrogen and carbon, phosphorus and water cycle through the ecosystem. Okay? So then we narrowed our scope a little bit to a community. Okay? A community is all the living things in an area. So just the biotic factors, just the elephants and the tigers and the zebras and the grass and the birds. That would be a community. No abiotic factors, just the biotic ones, just the living things. With that, we learned about habitats, we learned about niches, how things compete, how different populations compete over the same resources. We learned about predation. We're going to learn a little bit more about symbiosis next video. And then we learned about succession, how communities change over time after a natural disaster. So now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about populations. Okay, populations is going to be the focus of the day. My goal being you understand how populations work, how they grow, and how they're dispersed. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. And just as a reminder, populations are the number of individuals of the same species, just the same ones, okay? We're just talking about the elephants, or just the water buffalo, or just the humans, okay? So like I said, with populations, we're going to talk about how they are distributed and how they grow, okay? Both of those things are going to be important. And I know this is difficult to see because I kind of ran out of room here. Exponential growth and logistical growth are the two types of growth that we're going to look at with populations. And populations have what are called limiting resources, and they have both density dependent and density independent factors with that. We'll go more into that later. And finally, we're going to be talking about carrying capacity, which is how much an ecosystem can hold of a population. So imagine all of these different blocks as different animals, and the different colors represent the different species in an area. And let's just, for example, talk about one of the biomes we have to know, and that's the grassland. So let's say these orange blocks are giraffes. Let's say these red blocks are antelopes. Okay. Let's say the green blocks are lions, and the purple ones are hyenas, and the blue ones are elephants. Okay? All of them interacting with each other would be a community. All living things all interacting with each other, some of them in a symbiotic relationship, some of them in a predator-prey relationship. So that would be a community. But let's take a look at a population. Remember, a population is just one type of species. So I'm going to take out the elephants here. So just one, right? And I'm going to add some more elephants here for visual sake. Now when we talk about populations, the first thing we want to know is how they're dispersed, how they're spread out within an area. And there's three ways that populations are dispersed. And the first way is random. So just like you would think, they are randomly thrown around the community. Okay, some of them are close together, some of them are further apart, and some of them are kind of far away from everybody. So that's a random distribution. The second way is what's called uniform distribution, and just like you would think, all of these cubes, or I guess our elephants here, are arranged pretty much the same space away from each other. Okay. So here they all are. None is really closer to the other, and that really has to do with the resources that are available, mostly space. Okay, where you have this usually happens when you have a high population of individuals in an area that's fairly confined, and that space is a tight resource. Okay, and then finally, our last way is called clumped, where some are kind of grouped together here like so, okay? So you have small clusters of high density population individuals, okay? That's just another way to show it.